the journey of the Jewish people leaving Egypt towards their destination of the land of Israel was anything but simple. Sometimes we think these idyllic images of everybody marching out of Egypt, but there were all sorts of twists and turns and ups and downs that the Jewish people had as they traveled through the desert. At the beginning of this week's Parsha, we already start learning from the initial part of their journey of some of the challenges that they had. It says, when Paro sent the people out of Egypt, and God didn't take them through the land of the Plishtim, because it was close. Because God said, maybe the nation will have second thoughts when they see war and they will want to go back to Egypt. So just thinking about the situation, try to picture the map of Israel, the map of Egypt. We know Egypt is to the southwest of Israel. So the most straightforward path for them to travel would have been to go northeast. Northeast from Egypt to Israel would probably take them through the territory today known as the Gaza Strip. But that's not the way they went. In fact, they didn't go east, they didn't go northeast, but rather they went south, and then they went all the way to all the roundabout way. They came up north, the side of the Jordan, eventually crossed over to the Jordan. We know we're not always good with directions, but this detour, was enormously inconvenient and cost them so much time. So why did they go all the way around this most roundabout way where they had a straightforward path in front of them? So the Torah addresses this in the very first pasuk. Because God did not take them to the land of the Philistines, ki karovu, because it was close. Ki amar lokim, because God said, maybe the nation will get cold feet when they see the hostilities of the Philistines. They want to go back to Egypt, meaning perhaps there would be a confrontation with the Philistines on their way. So therefore, God made sure that they went the longer way in order to have a more suitable journey towards the land of Israel. Well, one can ask the following question, that is that we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu here. We're talking about Almighty God. He had just, delivered for us 10 plagues in Egypt, culminating with the Makas Bacharos, culminating with the death of the firstborn. He was about to split the sea for us. So we're talking about a logistics issue over here, that there may be adversity and hostility from the Philistines over here. Can we just put this on the tab as well? After 10 plagues, not only 10 plagues, splitting the sea, there's going to be manna, all these sorts of miracles. Subdue the Philistines. And why do we have to go travel, such a long and roundabout way? We're talking about Almighty God here. You couldn't have just put this on the list. One of the miracles, defeat the Philistines on the way to the land of Israel. What we see from over here is a very powerful idea. And we see from over here that sometimes the most convenient option, the easiest option out there, is not something that we should pursue, because it's not necessarily going to help us with our growth in life and make us more connected to godliness or to God himself. And of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, he could have facilitated for us the most easy, most convenient way for us to be in our promised land, for us to be in our holy land. But he chose not to teach us this most important lesson. And that is, in life, we are going to have some adversity. In life, we are going to be faced with challenges. And yet, it's only by persevering through these challenges persevering through this adversity, that we'd be able to grow in our journey and get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives. Because the most convenient option is not necessarily the one that's most growth oriented. And as we pause and reflect on this idea in a difficult year, in the year of a pandemic raging, and sometimes as a community of faith, we find ourselves challenged how to reconcile all the pain and suffering, the death that we see, with a good and benevolent and understanding God. So this pasuk comes to mind because we're not here in this world, as we see from the beginning of this parsha, to always have the most convenient, easy option in life. We're here to face challenges, we're here to face adversity, and we're here to connect with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives. And sometimes that requires weathering difficult challenges. So just to leave off with an optimistic note, yes, the Jewish people had their challenges as they journeyed from the land of Egypt to the land of Israel. Yes, they had their shares of adversity as they traveled, but eventually they came to their own promised land. And so to all of us, as we are overwhelmed with stress and anxiety about the situation in the world, it's important to remember as a community of faith, yes, we are going through these difficult times, but the same Ribono Shel Olam that took our ancestors out from bleak and trying times, we hope and pray that He will take us out of bleak and trying times as well. Wish you all good Erev Shabbos.